https://www.youtube.com/watch-246bwd. I got a package for my birthday, and my commanding officer told me not to touch it. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "That's not a gift." At first, I thought he was being dramatic, until I saw the shipping label and recognized the handwriting I hadn't seen since my sister's last disaster. Turns out it wasn't just a package, it was a setup, a forged shipment, a fake company, and my name plastered on federal documents like I'd signed off on all of it. What do you do when the people who raised you use your life as their shield? I'm not big on birthdays, no streamers, no brunch, no 34 and thriving Instagram captions. Just a normal Tuesday at Fort Peterson, a lukewarm cup of coffee, and the luxury of being left alone. That was the plan until a plain brown box showed up with my name spelled perfectly on the label. It was sitting on the front bench outside logistics. No ribbons, no card, just waiting. I picked it up without thinking. It was like too light for something meaningful. The tape was flawless, diagonal, tight, and somehow too familiar. Just then, Lieutenant Dan Foster, my CO, passed by. He stopped, his eyes narrowed. "Where'd you get that came through this morning?" "Says it's for me, maybe birthday stuff, from my family." He stepped closer, then tapped the bottom right corner of the label. I looked. A logo, tiny, barely visible, Blue Glint Logistics. Dan's tone dropped. "Don't touch that. That's not a gift." I blinked. "What are you talking about? We flagged them last year. Shell Company tried to smuggle counterfeit gear onto base through fake suppliers. This logo showing up on a personal package. That's a problem." I froze. "You think someone's trying to—" "I don't think," he said, calmly. "I report. And you should too." I carried that box like it was hissing. No joke, arms out, eyes down. I walked it straight to base security. But something was already spinning in my mind faster than protocol. Blue Glint, that tape, that packaging, that smell. 2 years ago, I visited my sister Lauren's apartment. She was knee-deep in what she called her art inventory. The whole place looked like a poorly lit Etsy warehouse, boxes everywhere taped just like this. The same lavender glue smell, the same try-hard aesthetics. Back then, she claimed it was temporary, just a creative phase. I didn't ask too many questions, I'd learned not to. But now, here it was again, in uniform. Once I turned the box in, I stepped outside and called my mom. She answered on the second ring. "Happy birthday, sweetheart. Did it arrive?" She didn't say the gift, she said it. Instantly, my chest tightened. "Yeah," I said slowly. "It came." She exhaled, not excited, relieved. "Oh, good. We just wanted to let you know we're thinking of you. You're our rock, you know that rock. My mother doesn't use language like that. Not unless she's smoothing over something sharp." That's when I knew. This wasn't a mistake, it was a setup. And someone had bet on me being too loyal or too tired to push back. I didn't go back to my desk. My body moved, but my brain stayed locked in that hallway, still staring at the box. I ended up near the motor pool, standing in front of a vending machine I didn't want anything from. Just staring, trying to breathe. Why would my mom sound relieved I'd opened a package? Why use that word rock like it meant something other than guilt? I pulled out my phone and searched Blue Glint Logistics. Their website looked standard stock photos of cheerful workers, pastel logos, fake testimonials, but the contact address, not the same as the one on my box. That one was a P.O. box 2 states over. That's not a coincidence, that's a firewall. Back inside, I ran into Dan Foster again. He was outside, internal security, arms folded like he already knew what was coming. "You good?" he asked. "No," I said honestly. "They open it yet?" "Not yet. Protocol's slow when it's labeled personal." "But it's not personal," I replied. "It's commercial, no card, no note, just clean shipping and a flagged logistics chain." Dan gave me a look, then knocked on the door. Inside the box sat untouched on a metal table, under a cold light, like it was waiting for a verdict. Sergeant Annie Kim, the base investigator, looked at me. "That's your name, yes. Full name correctly spelled. Recognize the return address, number a lie. Not technically, but close enough to count." Dan pointed to the Blue Glint logo. "Same barcode pattern we flagged 2 months ago. Counterfeit shipment routed through Kansas. Came through Bloom Designs." That name hit like a slap. Bloom Designs. Lauren used that name a year ago on a fake invoice she sent me. She claimed she needed to write off inventory from her art business for taxes. Asked me to hold some pieces and pretend they were mine. I said no, but apparently she didn't care. Bloom Designs isn't a real company, I told them. It's a fake brand she threw together on Canva. That logo, that's from her old business cards. She used my name once before for inspiration, but I never signed anything. Sergeant Kim peeled the shipping label and scanned it. After a few seconds, her screen pulled up a link. The code traces back to that same batch she confirmed. Multiple shipments, all tied to Bloom Designs Inc. And there it was, my worst suspicion written in plain text. Lauren didn't just accidentally send something sketchy. She intentionally used my name again. They asked me to step out while they documented the contents. Gloves, yeah, this. Cameras, chain of custody. It felt ridiculous, surreal, like I'd become a character in someone else's mess. I walked outside and sat on the curb, the Georgia heat pressed against my skin like guilt, heavy and invisible. I pulled up an old email from Lauren, April 14th. Subject little favor. Hey, sis, can I ship some stuff to your place temporarily? Just easier. I'll pick it up soon. Love you. I never replied, never said yes. But that message was still there. And silence. Silence leaves a trail too. I called Ben before I even walked back inside. She used my name, I said, before he could say hello. He didn't ask who, he already knew. Do they have proof? Not yet. But it's coming. There was a long pause on the line. You okay? I didn't know how to answer that. I wasn't scared. Not really. But there was a weight in my chest, thick and sharp, like I'd swallowed a nail and it lodged somewhere under my ribs. Later that night, I sat at the kitchen table while Ben finished dinner. The scent of garlic and soy sauce filled the room. Normal, safe. I needed that. I called Mom, I said Ed. He handed me a bowl without a word. She picked up on the second ring. Sounded sweet. Ben raised an eyebrow. Sweet or manipulative sweet? I didn't even hesitate. Second one, definitely the second. She say anything helpful? She said they just wanted me to feel loved. Called me their rock again. I laughed without humor. She's never used that word for me, not once, not when I deployed, not when I lost the baby. Ben didn't speak for a moment. They're scared, he said finally. Good, I replied. They should be. After dinner, I pulled out my laptop, opened every message, every DM, every email from Lauren. I hadn't deleted anything, not because I expected to need it, but because part of me knew someday I might. Ben leaned over my shoulder. You think this is enough? Not yet, I said. But it's a start. If they try to say, I knew if they claim I was involved, I need to show a pattern. Show the manipulation, the coercion, the way she always phrases things just vague enough to claim innocence. She still have those tax files you sent her years ago, Ben asked. I stopped typing. She did. I'd sent them when she said she didn't understand deductions. I gave her copies as examples. My W-2s, my address, my SSN. I thought I was helping. God, I muttered. I gave her everything. Ben's voice was low. Then you need to treat this like war. And he was right, because Lauren wasn't malicious in the way that leaves bruises. She was the kind of dangerous that hides behind tears and charm. She doesn't destroy you directly. She lets your name take the hit. I scrolled back to a text from 6 months ago. Hey, sis, might send something your way soon. Don't freak. Just art shipment. All good vibes. I never responded, but she sent it anyway. My phone buzzed. It was my dad. You going to answer? Ben asked. I stared at the screen. Let's see what he's rehearsed. I put it on speaker. Hey, kiddo, he said, chipper but fake. Just wanted to wish you happy birthday. Sorry we didn't call earlier. Sure, we really hope you liked the little gift. Lauren put a lot of thought into it, and there it was, her name. You're saying Lauren sent it? Well, we all did as a family. I could feel Ben's hands clench on the table. You know, Dad continued, you've always been the strong one. We just figured I could take the hit. I cut in. Silence. It's not like that. I hung up, and that silence. It wasn't empty. It was confirmation. I didn't sleep that night, not out of fear, out of calculation. I stayed up organizing emails, screenshots, even old voicemails. I started building a digital war room, because if this was going to spiral, and it already was, I refused to go down quietly. The next morning, I walked into the legal office on base. Lieutenant Ryan Hale was already at his desk. I need to talk, I said. about a package and a name mine. He nodded, calm and unreadable. Start from the beginning. I laid it all out. No tears, no drama, just facts. Bloom Designs, blue glint, fake address. My name on invoices, my sister's involvement, my parents' evasion. Hale took notes, fast, efficient. Then he pulled up the Georgia Business Registry. Let's see if your name ever shows up officially, he murmured. 3 clicks in there it was. Bloom Designs, LLC, registered 10 months ago, the address, my old apartment in Savannah, the email, dana.artman@signmail.com. That's not mine, I said flatly. The signature, a sloppy imitation of my real one. Hale zoomed in. You recognize this? It looks like she copied it off a birthday card. He leaned back. This could qualify as identity theft, possibly fraud. You willing to provide handwriting samples for comparison? Yes, anything. He nodded. You're doing the right thing. But doing the right thing doesn't undo the wrong that's already in motion. That afternoon, the CID called. They'd traced a payment for the items in the box linked to an account under Dana Whitlow Holdings. I don't have holdings, I said. They emailed the file anyway. Same P.O. box, same fake email. Same careless formatting Lauren always used in her Etsy bios back when she sold spiritual bath salts. Ben looked at the screen and said it first. This isn't shady anymore. This is criminal. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. I just opened a new document and started typing everything I could remember. Text by text, date by date. I wasn't chasing justice. I was building a timeline. Because if this went to court and I knew it might, I'd need more than hurt feelings. I needed a pattern. CID emailed again. Another form. This one worse than the last. A fake W-2 filed under my name. Claimed I made over $80,000 in art consultation last year. Ben's jaw clenched. She filed fake taxes in your name. I nodded. And she tried to use your military address as a business location. This wasn't carelessness. This wasn't she didn't know better. This was strategic theft built on my silence. Later that night, while Ben slept, my phone buzzed again. My mother. You told them, didn't you? I didn't speak. They took your father's laptop. They're asking about Lauren's art about shipments. Do you have any idea what you've done? I told the truth. I replied. You could have protected her. I'm not her insurance policy, I said. She's your sister. Exactly. Then came the line that broke something in me. You've always been stronger. You can handle this like betrayal was my job, like sacrifice was hereditary, like I was built to burn. She hung up, and I realized they never asked me to help. They expected it. The promotion board email hit my inbox at 5:42 a.m. that Friday. Subject line, suspension of promotion review, Lieutenant Emma Clark. No greeting, no ceremony. Just a cold paragraph. Due to an ongoing investigation involving identity misuse tied to a logistics fraud case, your file has been placed on indefinite hold. I read it twice. My chest didn't cave in. Not right away. I just sat there holding the phone like it weighed 50 pounds. Ben walked in with coffee. I didn't have to say anything. He saw my face, just slid the mug across the table. Want me to look into who flagged it? No, I said. I want to trace how far this went. He nodded and opened his laptop. Start here, we traced everything. Emails, shipping records, business filings. One IP address logged in from a cafe in Asheville right next to Lauren's old apartment. Another from my parents' house. A third from a mobile device registered under our family phone plan. They weren't just complicit, they were connected. That afternoon, I walked into Lieutenant Hale's office with a flash drive and a printed file 2 inches thick. I'm ready, I said. All of it. Every name, every click, every timestamp. He opened it and leaned in. This is enough to open federal charges. Good, I replied. I want it on record. The following week, CID called again. We forwarded your evidence to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Agent Rob Torres told me. You're officially the reporting party. It was the first time someone said I wasn't a suspect, not the accused, not the cleanup crew, a witness. Later that day, a new form came through a third-party employment verification request. But not from the Army. It was from Sun Ranch Financial, a small business lending platform. The attached file claimed I was the owner of Bloom Designs and had made $84,000 last year in private consulting. I felt my stomach twist. Fake W-2, my name, my SSN, and again my old address listed as the business headquarters. She was applying for loans in my name. This wasn't just about art figurines anymore, it was identity laundering, financial fraud, across state lines, and they'd let it happen because they assumed I'd never fight back. That night I printed everything, clipped it into a thick folder, and walked it to Agent Torres's office myself. No appointment, no emotion, just facts. When he opened the folder and reached the forged W-2, he exhaled through his nose and muttered, "She used your base address as her official mailing center." "That's bold." "No," I said, "it's lazy." She knew I wouldn't check. He looked at me. "Well, she miscalculated. People always do when you don't scream," I said, quietly. That night I sat on the porch with Ben and finally exhaled. The air was thick, the kind of southern humidity that clings to skin and memory. But for the first time in weeks, I felt clean. Not because they apologized. They hadn't. Not because I'd won anything. I hadn't yet. But because I'd stopped carrying the shame they tried to hang around my neck like a name tag. I was no longer the strong one in their story. I was the truth teller, and I had evidence. The silence after federal charges is the loudest silence you'll ever hear. No calls, no texts, just stillness. I wasn't waiting for apologies. I knew better. Instead, I got a voicemail from Lauren. Not a plea, not remorse. Just this: "You don't have to make this ugly. Just say it was a mix-up. Say we were trying to help. Nobody needs to get hurt." I played it for Ben. He didn't laugh. He didn't curse. He just muttered, "She sounds like a scammer rehearsing empathy." I forwarded the voicemail to CID. Agent Torres replied within the hour. "Thanks, Lieutenant Clark. We'll include this as corroborating evidence." And there it was. Corroborating, a word that meant I was no longer on trial. The next day, base admin called. They'd received an employment verification request for me again. But this time the company listed was Bloom Designs. They wanted to verify my income to approve a loan. I told them, "Do not respond." I opened the request file, my name, my birthday, my SSN, but also a fabricated W-2 claiming I'd earned over 80 keys in the art world. This wasn't amateur hour anymore. Lauren had built an entire shadow version of me, one that ran a business, earned money, applied for loans. A full identity ecosystem. And the worst part, it worked. Long enough to get flagged by federal agents tracked an interstate fraud ring. Ben stood over my shoulder reading silently. "She built a clone of you," he said, "and she used it like a shield." I nodded. "But I'm tearing it down. Every last fake nail and lavender-scented lie." I printed the forged tax forms, the invoices, the emails. Then I walked them straight into CID again. Same ritual, same silence. Agent Torres didn't even blink. "This proves she wasn't just exploiting your name. She was weaponizing it." I stood there as he scanned the documents. Finally, he looked up. "This is going to the U.S. attorney. Criminal charges. You'll be asked to testify. Just tell me where and when," I said. "I'll bring the truth." That evening, I did something I should have done years ago. I changed every emergency contact, base records, medical folders, personnel systems. Anywhere my mother's name used to live gone, I replaced her with Ben. Then I blocked their numbers, not to punish, to protect peace. No more "you misunderstood our intent" voicemails. No more Christmas texts wrapped in guilt. No more holiday photos with captions like, "Family first." They weren't my family anymore, not in the ways that mattered. I wiped every trace of Lauren's access old tax files, scanned IDs, even cloud storage. The system popped up. "Are you sure you want to permanently delete these?" I smiled. Yes. Yes, I was sure. That night I sat with Ben on the porch. Georgia's late summer sky glowed orange and gold. The air finally felt breathable. He looked at me. "What now?" I shrugged. "Nothing." He leaned back. "That sounds amazing." And it was. Not peace through forgiveness, but peace through boundaries. The promotion board reinstated my file 2 weeks later. No fanfare, no apologies, just a short line in a base-wide memo. "Captain Emma Clark, status, active consideration." That was it. No balloons, no formal email, no justice speech. But for me, it was monumental because the truth held. Not because I shouted, but because I didn't fold. I cleaned the kitchen that morning like I always did, mindlessly, methodically. Wiped counters, replaced the sponge, threw out a single sad banana. Then I stopped. The spot by the fruit bowl, that exact space where the package had sat. It had only been there an hour, maybe less, but it had pulled up years of rot, a cardboard bomb sealed with lies sent by the people who thought I'd be too strong to say anything. I didn't open it, and that one choice, that changed everything. Ben came in folder in hand. Mail, he said, dropping it on the counter. Just boring adult stuff, forms, newsletter, and envelope from my CO. I opened the letter without urgency. Captain Clark, your professionalism and resilience throughout recent investigations have not gone unnoticed. Pending final review, you remain a candidate for O5 promotion. Dry, clean, direct. But to me, it was proof that they couldn't erase me with forged invoices and lavender-scented lies. That silence didn't mean submission, it meant strategy. I stood in the sunlight pouring through the window, holding the letter with both hands. Ben watched me. You okay? Yeah, I said, I am. He leaned against the doorway, sipping his coffee. It's been quieter lately. It's not, I told him. I'm just not feeling it with their noise anymore. That afternoon, I opened an old shoebox in the closet. Inside were childhood drawings, birthday cards, scribbled notes. From my mother, most of them signed to our strong girl. I stared at that phrase. It had always felt like a compliment, but now I saw it for what it was: permission, an excuse, a silent contract that said, you can carry more, so we'll give you more. And if it breaks you, that's your fault. I took the box to the fireplace. No rage, no ceremony, just clarity. As the cards curled into ash, I whispered the line I'd waited my whole life to believe: I'm not your backup plan. The fire glowed orange and soft and final, and that was enough. I didn't need revenge, I didn't need validation, I needed space, and now I had it. Ben and I sat on the porch that evening, feet up, listening to the cicadas sing the end of summer. He looked over at me. So, now what? I didn't answer right away. I just smiled. A real one this time. I already did it, I said. They always said I was the strong one, the responsible one, the one who could handle anything. And that was exactly why they thought they could use me. But strength isn't about absorbing damage in silence. It's about choosing when enough is enough and walking away with your name intact. I didn't scream. I didn't retaliate. I just refused to carry what wasn't mine anymore. That decision didn't make me cold. It made me free. The truth is, some families don't need enemies. They build their own and call it love. So here's my question. What would you do if your own family used your same as their escape plan? Would you protect them or protect yourself? Tell me in the comments. And if this story felt familiar, if you've ever had to walk away just to survive, you're not alone. Subscribe to the channel for more true stories about family betrayal and quiet strength. We don't just expose drama, we reclaim dignity. Because sometimes the most powerful revenge is finally living a life where they can't reach you.